Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this webinar about smarter task management with Bitrix in your Bitrix24. The reason why I'm having this webinar is so that we can know Bitrix is a bit more than just your CRM. So who am I? I'm Jonica from FullView Solutions, Bitrix24 partner in South Africa. So as you would know, the main part of Bitrix that connects everything together is your CRM. But there's so much more that you can do with your Bitrix. And I want us to look at those examples today. So although you might not be using Bitrix tasks, you have a system that you're managing your day with. And it's probably either one of these. So your email inbox, to know that what I've done, I delete and I put it in the deleted items, or it's your favorite notebook or diary that you can make notes in, or you've got something like Slack or Teams, or even WhatsApp where you keep notes of what's happening with you and your team, or Excel, the good old Excel where we can list everything, give it stages, put deadlines, and some people are clever enough to get reminders or change the color when the deadline is overdue. So none of these are bad systems, but they are not necessarily designed for what we are doing with them to manage tasks. So let's look at some statistics just for interest's sake. So 24% of people use their inbox as their task list. 82% don't have a dedicated task management system. 80% the employees or whoever needs to work is unclear of what needs to be done. And then 1 in 5 don't know. They're not sure about what is expected of them in their workplace. You can't see that. So how do we cover that in Bitrix? So what Bitrix gives us is this. We can give every task a delegated owner. They can know that there's one expected outcome based on the task name. Managers need visibility, and that's where what Bitrix tasks will give you. Every task ends with another task, so to know when this is done, what do I have to do next? And then the system should remind your managers of what's happening. So those are the 5 things that we'll look at in Bitrix in terms of how we can do it. And then I've also got some tips in terms of how you can actually do it in Bitrix, different ways than just clicking on create task. So let's go to Bitrix24. Right, so this is the task view in your Bitrix where you can change it and sort it the way you would want it to be. This is a view that you have as an option, or we can look at different views like over here. So if I just want to split my screen over here, if we look at this, so that's your typical view of what you see as when your tasks are opened up. These columns that you can see over here, you can customize to change the order of what you see and what you don't see. And then you can sort by whether it's the assignee or whatever you want to sort by. Important when I open up a task, or let's create a new one, and then we think about those principles that I just showed you. So when you open up the task, you've got a quick task view. I can give it a basic name, set up presentation, presentation for new sales process, whatever the task name is. And I always say, as far as possible, put detail in there so that when you open it up, you don't have to wonder what it's about. I have the assignee, who's doing it, and I have a deadline. When is this due? So you can use this has a simple view to create your tasks, and then I go create task. If you need more information on your task, you can use the full screen view. So if I go to create and I go to detailed form, if I open up that, my view changes a bit. So I still have the basic information I had over here on the quick tasks. Now I can do the task name again, send new proposal management, have more detail. I'm not going to add detail now in terms of what has to be done. Then I've got these 4 items that I have to look at. So the task owner, in this case, it's my user that I'm logged in with by default, the assignee who has to do it. Then there is the deadline. When does it have to be done? And then in Bitrix, you've got the option for time tracking. So we'll look at it now because there's 2 ways that you can use the time tracking. So that's there by default on your screen. Then you've also got checklists. So if I need to do ABC to make sure this task is completed, I can create a checklist over here by clicking on my checklist, and it will add a checklist for me with the relevant items that I have to do. In terms of people, we've got 2 other icons over here. I've got my participants and my observers. So if you think about assignee, the first one we had over here, so that's the main person responsible for this task. I like to say the buck stops somewhere. This is the person that has to make sure the job is done, even though maybe they don't do it. Participants is if it's a team working together to complete this specific task, and observers is like management. If I have a manager above me that just needs to know what's the progress of this task, I add them as observers. That links back to the management needs to have a view of what's happening. So that's that. You can set up reminders, and then very important is, well, to me, in my opinion, is the CRM option. So if I go to CRM items, it can tell me what do I have to do this for. So yes, I have to do a proposal, but what is the background of that? And you can have any of your sales items linked to this. I'm just going to use this as an example, and it is about this specific deal. Let's just change the responsible person to somebody else. We will make it Clara. So now when Clara receives the task, she's got some background. She's not simply having a task. She can click on the CRM item and know what it is about. So if I do this, I can have Alfonso, and that is then what the background is of this specific item. Open it up, and then she can see, oh, right, okay, this is the deal that it is about. So that's your CRM item. Now I want to jump back to when we spoke about the relevant people and then task owner. Why is this important? Because when you report to say which tasks that I may assign or which tasks are assigned to me, that's why that's important. Then you can also say when I need to know when this task is completed. I want to know that it's done, and you can get a notification for that. So that's why the people over there is important. Then something that changed in Bitrix, well, it's a while ago, but it wasn't like that in the beginning, is your tasks, your chats. So previously we had the comments here on the left where you would add your updates for the tasks. Now you have a chat over here where I can ask what is the latest update. Laura will get a message on her side to ask her what is the latest update, and I can have my feedback over there. I always advise keep the chat over here for this specific task. Then I don't have to go search between different chats. What was the latest update? So that's your chats. Let's just look at the checklist quickly. I didn't open that up. So this can be my proposal design checklist. Just fix my typo there. And then I can have get text, add images, and do proof, whatever the items are. And I can save my checklist. Now this appears in my task as sub little items that I have to do, and I can tick them as I've done it. Important thing to know about Bitrix is when I've ticked all my items as done, it doesn't necessarily close the task. You still have to close it. So now I've completed the task because I'm the manager. Ideal would be that the person that the task is assigned to needs to close it. That's the people, that's the checklist. You can then also have custom fields. So I want to share a principle with you in terms of how you can prioritize your tasks, and then we can look at the custom fields, just so that you know that. So that's the basics of what is in your task. But I also want to show you other ways in terms of how you can create tasks, and not only by using this My Tasks button. Let's go to a chat. So if this is a chat with a specific employee, and I do that quite often. So if this is my chat with Ati, please set up the training with Brandon. So yes, it's good having it in the chat, but you still want the task to track it. You have the option to go over here on the three dots, and you can say create task. So task to set up, or set up meeting with Brandon. So he doesn't have to just remember that we spoke about it in the chat, and I can add a deadline and create the task. I don't have to pick the assignees now because it is in this specific chat, so it will know the people involved in this task. So that's creating it from here. When I am in a CRM item, so if we go to CRM, I can also create it from that item. That once again allows you to link back to know what the task was about. So let's go to XYZ Retail, and we can create a task from here. And we might call it setup follow-up meeting. Again, all of the items here at the bottom will apply that you can add, and I'm creating a task. So now, whether I am on XYZ Retail, I can see the task over here, or if I'm on my tasks list, I will see the task there as well. So that's another way you can do it from your item. Then something that a lot of people don't know is that you can also create it from your mailbox. So if I go to webmail over here and I open up one of these emails, let's open up this one, then you've got the option here at the top to say create task. And then details, I'm not going to add much over there. When I have the task, let's just open up the task over here. You can see the email is there already. So if I'm giving you instructions based on an email sent from a customer and you create it from the email, once again, you can click through and see the history or the background of where this is coming from. So that's in your mailbox. You can create a task from the mail item. Then something that is a little bit of a secret, I think, but it's very powerful, is you can create tasks for yourself by sending it to a specific email address. I know I use that. So what is that email address and who can get it? Each user has to get their own unique email address, and you can use that to send it to. I don't give my email address to other people. I don't want them to create tasks for me. I just do it for myself. So where do you get that? You go to your user profile, you would go and open up your profile. And then where you have all the general settings, you will go to security. Then you have an option, forwarding address. And then you'll see you've got two. One is a mail address that when you send an email there, it will post it to your company feed. Maybe it's a big event. And you have the one that says create a task. So what will happen is if I copy this address now and I send an email to it, let's do that from my Outlook, then it will create a task on my task list. Let's look at an example. So I'm going to forward this email and create a task for us. Let's just use that email address. I've actually saved in my Bitrix, I've saved it as a contact. So I can just quickly pick it up. So now I've sent that. So we will see a pop-up on the right to say there's a new task that was created for me. And once again, the whole email thread is in that task. Right, so that's the different places that you can create it. Then how do I group my tasks together? Is I can have a project. So if I go to my tasks and projects menu item, so you can either have it a shortcut on your left, or like I say, your Bitrix Google, you can search for something, a specific menu item. So I can search for tasks. Don't press enter because it's going to take you to your feed. I can go to tasks and projects. And this can be a way then that you group your tasks together, whether it's for you, for a specific project, or for a team, completely up to you. Now I'll go to projects, and then I can have different projects with different team members assigned to it. The view I have here is the same again. I've got my list views, and then you've also got different views that is available across all your tasks. Let's look at that quickly. You've got your list view. I like to call that your Outlook view, where you can move the stages around or the fields around and sort. And then you've got your Kanban view. So it's important to understand that when I'm in a project, the Kanban view I've set up over here is the same for everybody in the project. But if I use the Kanban view in my own tasks, we can look at that now, then it's only for me. Then a very popular view is the deadline view, where it will automatically organize your tasks for you in terms of what is due next. Maybe it's a better idea to look at that from the task screen itself, then have a better view. So if I go to my deadline view, it will automatically organize it for me based on my deadlines. So if I start my day, I can look at my overdue tasks or just my tasks for today and tackle them in that order. You can either move it here if you want to change a deadline, or open it up and change the deadline by clicking on this. So that is my deadline view. And then you've got your planner view. So planner view is your view. Kanban is for the whole team. Planner view is my view. So if I want to sort my tasks based on specific types, I can change this and make my own categories or stages, whatever I would want to call it, and sort it based on that. So this has nothing to do with the stage of the task. It's your own grouping of how you want to organize your tasks. Right, so that's Bitrix tasks. Let's just recap. You've got the quick way to create a task from tasks itself. You can go to the CRM item, create the task from there. You can go to your webmail, click on the button to create a task, or you can use it in your chats. And then lastly, you can use that email where you send yourself an email and it creates a task. So that's Bitrix tasks. I want to end off by sharing something else with you. in terms of organizing your tasks. I don't know about you, but if I have a long list of tasks, like we saw over here in the deadline view, I don't know what to tackle first because we need to prioritize them. So I did a bit of research in terms of how we can manage it, and this is what I found. So we can sort it based on urgency, gravity, and importance. Well, importance, gravity, urgency. And how urgency, that's how it helped me, because things might be urgent, but it might not be that important. And then the gravity part is what Walter, our team member, actually taught me, is how quickly can this escalate? Think about a ball that you're putting on a slope. The gradient of that slope will determine how quickly that ball will pick up tempo. So, example, I need to do an interview, a prep for an interview with a possible new employee for today at 4 o'clock. I need to send a presentation or proposal to a new customer tomorrow by 3 o'clock. And then I need to order new stock for the canteen. So if I had to organize those three by these items, you can score them if it helps you to make it easy to rank them. Make it out of 1 to 10. Make sure in each category you've got one thing with a 1 and one thing with a 10, and then you split the rest in between. So if you look at those examples of tasks, that return, I can't move the deadline, so I have to do it based on that. So that's why that's got the top score of all of that together. And I'm not going to go through all of the detail now, but you can use this to categorize and plan in terms of what is on your day. So that's me for today in terms of Bitrix tasks, really the basics in terms of how you can use them and how you can create them. If you need any further training, you're welcome to contact us. Our contact details is in our YouTube channel, and then you can subscribe also for further videos. Thank you very much for joining, and take care.